And when I do the chair demo, Jose, feel free to prompt me, like interrupt me, like if I miss something.
Yeah.
So here we go. They'll let us know when we're ready to start, I think. Keep an eye on our chats here. And we'll let go. So it looks like we're live. And just let us know when we're ready to start. Okay, great. So hello, everybody. I'm Mark, and I'm here with Jose. We're the co-founders of Movably, and thank you for joining us. We thought we'd do a couple things today. We'll tell you our stories and a little bit about how the chair works and where it came from. And then we'll have time for questions and demos and more details and so on. So briefly, my background is mechanical engineering and software. That's what I've mostly done. And then my story for this starts with a back injury quite a while ago now, but I had a bicycling accident where I got hit by a car. And I had a compression fracture in my vertebrae, which isn't a terrible one. It's something you kind of just, in a week or two, you start healing. And then you do your physical therapy, and all of that went great. I was very lucky, like I kind of fully recovered. In the next months, I started noticing that I couldn't sit as long. Just the extended sitting was a problem for me. And I think that kind of prompted my search from there on. So I became early adopter about trying all these things like kneeling chairs and exercise balls, and then finally went to standing desks and things like that. And all of that led me to kind of keep digging deeper and deeper. We have a third co-founder who's not with us here today. He and I kind of got on this. We started making standing desks of our own. And then we came across this, came up with this idea to really solve the problem, I think, from first principles. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll definitely do more. And I'll let Jose introduce himself too.
Yeah. Looks like we're having a little trouble with YouTube, but looks like we're good to go still. Is that right? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so as Mark said, my name is Jose. I'm VP of Engineering at Movably. Let's see. Letting us know that we may want to pause.
Well, technical difficulties here, I think, with the YouTube stream.
I'm glad we have a team dealing with the YouTube because I know how to consume it, but I don't know how to manage it.
I think while we're waiting, people are already getting the view. I kind of just put my chair in auto mode, and I'll be demonstrating that later. But that's what's going on. Don't worry, it's all part of the show.
Yeah, and you're on a chair, and then I have one here also.
Great.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm VP of Engineering at Movably. Where was I? Mark, you approached me in June of 2020, I think, with this concept of this chair. I think you originally said a shelf because you didn't want to give away too many
We're trying
details.
to keep it secret. Yeah.
But anyways, when he let me in on it, I was just like, yes, no brainer. I need to work on this project. Because for myself, I had also suffered a back injury similar to Mark. And that was in 2015. And at that time, I was working for Sudex, which was a small startup company that I helped spin out from the Berkeley Engineering Robotics Lab. And while I was there, I was designing a medical exoskeleton for people who had suffered from a back injury, so a traumatic back injury. So they were paralyzed from the chest down, and unfortunately for these people, they developed secondary injuries where they developed these secondary injuries from being sitting for too long and wheelchair bound. So the idea is that if we can get them to stand up and walk with this medical exoskeleton device, then we'd prolong these onset of these secondary injuries. So here I was working at my desk for long hours at a time, and then go play soccer immediately after, day after day, just doing that. And on one of these events, I herniated my back, and I was bedridden for a week. I had a hard time standing up and walking. And by the time I was ready to start working again, I found it very difficult to sit for long periods of time. And I would transition from foam roller, kneeling, squatting, standing, everything. And so when Mark approached me with this idea, yeah, for me it was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and it's like, in my wheelhouse of human robotics interfaces. So yeah, I'm glad and I'm thankful that Mark reached out to me with this product, because I use it, I love it, he uses it, he loves it, and I think we've come up with a very cool design and device to solve this issue of being at your desk for long periods of time.
Jose, that's great. And I just realized that you and I have kind of the two versions of things, which are, I had an injury, which made me more sensitive to sitting. And you had long stretches of sitting, which could have contributed to your injury. So
Yeah.
we've kind of had both ends of this. So that's our story. And I thought it'd be fun to just show you how it all works, because this is very different, very new. But let me walk you through it. And if you have questions at the end, we'll repeat things and we can show you again. And Jose, you can interrupt me if I miss something here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it the way we actually, we have test users. We have chairs out and they're using it. So I'll just kind of do it the way we kind of onboard them when we start. You need a standing desk, as we've kind of shared. Pretty much any standing desk will work. So the first thing we usually do when a person gets up on their chair, get their desk chair right height. So that's important. It's easy to do. You do it once and it's set for good. And the next thing I do is I usually have them practice a little bit, where I have them just find the footrest, because the footrest is kind of a new thing, right? You kind of want to make sure I have a memory of where that is, and that just makes it easier to engage. And then before we start, I usually have them bring a chair half up, and the chair starts low, and we want to adjust it for a person's height. So right now it's kind of low. It's really easy to do. We put a little weight on it. There's a handle in the back, and just like any chair, it has a little pneumatic lift, and you want to kind of adjust it so you're kind of splitting your weight between your standing leg and your resting leg. Super easy. Again, you do this once and you're done. So likewise, the backrest is adjustable, and you kind of want to find your sweet spot. So you take it down to the bottom, and then you sort of nudge it up, and you kind of find the lumbar and the place where it provides all the support, and you're done. So now you kind of got your chair set up right, and it takes all of 30 seconds. But I'd like to kind of introduce the chair in a different way, just to kind of show you how we relate to the chair, because it's automatic, it's robotic, and so on. And the chair has these two halves of seats, and they're powered. And the first thing you might think is, well, is that going to be scary or too strong or something? Well, the motors in the chairs are just made to kind of change the position of the seat. And if you resist it with a little bit, it'll fight you for 2 seconds and it'll give up. Okay, so it can't really hurt you or anything like that. So when we do ask the chair to come up, it comes up and it locks in the upright position. We do the opposite. If we have any weight on the chair and we ask it to go down, you notice it's not going down, because it senses that there's something on it, so it doesn't want to drop you. So that's also been designed that other way, that release way. But now if I ask it to go down, as soon as I take my weight off, it gets out of my way. So that's that way that our chair kind of interacts with you. It does have little vibrations in each half of the seat that also remind you when you're sitting on it. And to get started, I'm going to do it on this side, on the left, so you can see a little better on camera. It kind of prompts you, and it kind of chases your leg as you get up into position. And you just follow, you hear it lock, and then you can go and rest, and off you go. So, and now, good, we've got it pinned. Hopefully you can see it a little better. So we usually have people just practice that up and down a few times, right? I'll do the other side using the tap buttons on the sides. And here I go. So a couple seconds, and I'm in a whole different posture, and I can alternate really easily. So in addition to the buttons, we kind of made the chair even smarter. And when we came up with this idea, it was kind of an aha moment. And it's called responsive control. I'm going to steal your thunder, Jose. This is Jose's thing. but I got the chair on camera. So the way that works is you can kind of prompt the chair to come up with your heel or your hand, and the chair kind of interprets, oh, the person would like that to move. And so you could really just do that automatically as well. Right? So it's kind of the basic ways that you interact with the chair.
And Mark, to unlock, you did it, but you didn't describe it.
I didn't explain it, right.
Yeah.
So there I pushed the button, I came up. And let's say I want to go down quick. I can also start it with my hand. And I lift it up briefly, and it knows I'm asking to go down. And I guess I can do a full demo. We have all these things, and we deserve our chair too. We deserve a chair, and we don't take the chair away. When you do need to sit, include that in your rotation. You can just do that too, and it feels just like sitting in any chair. So that was responsive control. And I guess the last thing. I think with all this we've done and the ability to use this chair this way is great. But the piece I think that solves the problem we're all having is that we forget to move. We get focused on our work or we really like what we're doing. And while we're supposed to move every 20, 30 minutes, sometimes that's just not practical. So we have this automatic mode you might have heard about, and that's where the chair just goes on a pattern and it becomes automatic. So really easy. I can hold either button down for 2 seconds, and that's to start this automatic mode. And at 6 seconds, it'll start the first posture change. And I can put that, and it's giving me a flamingo on the right. And here I am, and I'm kind of ready to go. So you can just stop that. And then a minute later, I can have the timer go again, and I'll just simulate it here. I can do it. I might switch to the next posture, which might be flamingo on the left. And that could all be happening every minute or two on a timer. I like to use about 2.5 minutes, and it's just that amount of time for me personally that kind of sitting starts to bother me, and now it's easy to change into another posture.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's the rundown on the chair and so on, and I'm sure you'll have questions. So it might be nice to just switch into question mode and take those.
Mark, I guess since you described how you like to use the chair, I'll just describe how, I usually set it for like 5 minutes of auto mode, but then I use responsive to switch in between. So I usually like to fidget more. So I'll be in run right leg up, right leg down, right leg up, right leg down. But then if I stay in one position for too long, then I'll get the reminder to say, hey, you haven't moved. So
Okay.
That's how I like to use
you have
it.
like 5 minutes as your minimum, and then you do extra if
exactly.
when you want it. Yeah, we're experimenting with other ideas. There's one that I also like. We call it round trip, and it's taking you through every position of the chair, and you just kind of travel through all of those. So left and right, lean, stand, sit, and you can do that too. So it's kind of all personal preference, and you have to experiment a little bit to try it. All right, and so that's the demo. Again, if you have questions, send them in, and we're happy to share more about it and take it from there. Okay, and I just see that we're now streaming on YouTube. I think there'll be a recording, so people will have the chair demo and all of that as well. So we'll have that.
Yeah, maybe should we do a brief video for the people on YouTube, a brief video demo, chair demo, or?
Yeah, I'd be happy. Maybe I do the short version. I could run through that again.
Yeah, let's see if that's.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting for the questions to come in. So the onboarding and learning to use our chair.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
Yeah, quick demo.
We'll do the quick one.
Yeah.
Right. So chair's really easy to kind of get started with. You got your desk, your standing desk. You'll set it once to a good height, kind of 90-degree arms is the right level. The chair height is easy to set. When you get your chair, it's usually in a lower position. Right. We're going to bring one seat half up. I'll show you about that. And you just use the pneumatic lift, the button, to kind of set it comfortable. One leg standing, one leg sitting. The footrest, I didn't mention this before, the footrest is adjustable up and down and forward and back. So you can kind of set that where you need it. And the backrest, of course, is also adjustable. So you can kind of nudge it to the position where it fits right in the lumbar and kind of feels really nice for leaning back. And then how does the chair work? Pretty simple. The motors aren't that strong, so they won't hurt you. They're just there to move the seat and reposition the seat. And if you're not going to move, it'll give up after a few seconds. And then the reverse, once it comes up and locks, if you're sitting on it, but you ask for it to go down, I just tap the button. It doesn't go down only when I kind of say I'm ready. And that's the interaction with the chair for that. So once you're aboard and you've got it all going, there are these buttons on the sides, and it's really easy to step up into a flamingo posture. You can alternate, come up and down on these. That's how that works. And there's a fancy feature, which is responsive control, where you can just sort of prompt the chair to start moving, and it does it for you. And of course, you know, sitting is nice to have, and I usually have it in the rotation, but I just, you know, add a couple minutes of sitting, and I get prompted for the next posture. So that's kind of the quick and easy onboarding of the chair. So let's see. All right. So for those who saw the first demo and get a kind of a repeat. Okay. Now we're going to try for questions.
Yeah, we're ready.
And if you notice, almost everybody does this. You can freestand, and I usually do this a little bit, but everybody loves the lean. It's just so comfortable. It takes some load off your back. It's really easy to do a little stretch and so on. So we have a question. We can tag team, Jose. Do you want to?
Yeah, I think you should go take this one.
Okay. All right. So the question is, does the chair swivel or rotate so I can use my multi-screen setup? And that's a really good question. We've definitely talked about it a lot. With the chair, it does kind of create this one workspace where you want to have everything set up right ergonomically. There's probably a case where someone might have a screen off to the side where they use it for some other task, if they have an L-shaped desk or something. So options for that are, the chair has two wheels on the back, and it's really easy to rotate. If you're going to do an hour of work over there, you just rotate over and go do that. You know, I was thinking, what are the other kind of thoughts that, why do we do this? One is safety, right? So the chair is kind of an integrated system to solve this problem of moving while we work. But I think another thing is, anytime we can prompt a movement otherwise, we want that. So if you're going to change position to use a computer on the side, boy, that swivel is kind of working against you. You're not going to move. You're not going to stand up. You're not going to do absolutely anything. So now we got, yes, you're going to do a little bit more in that case, but that's okay. Actually, we want a little bit more movement, especially those times when you can interrupt your focus, when you're shifting a job from one thing to the other.
Maybe I talk a little bit about the height restrictions.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually the height, while we say the height, and I believe that's 5 feet, 5'2" inches.
5'2", I think. Yeah.
5'2". That height, it's a little bit nuanced, because actually it's your leg length, right? So if Mark is in flamingo mode, I don't know if you want to go into flamingo mode, Mark, yeah, but you can demonstrate it. You know, really it's the length of your leg that really matters here. And for some people who are 5 foot tall, have long legs, it'll fit them. I think the shortest we fit is someone that was 4'11".
There was a 4'11" person.
Yeah,
we had trying it, and it was fine.
So I think we should release more information about leg lengths and perhaps a measurement guide to know whether you will fit or not fit, because you can take that chair pretty low. Yeah,
and I'm not that tall. I'm about 5'10" and a half.
Yeah.
But theoretically, a person could, I don't know what height this is, but it has a pretty good range. We picked 5'2" just to kind of be safe to not disappoint people, but we can get more precise, I think, when we get those measurements out.
Yeah. And that's true, yeah, for tall end too. So someone who is 6'3", but has a longer torso, shorter legs might fit the chair well too.
So we have another question about, so there are ergonomic reasons. I know there are ergonomic reasons not to have armrests, but might that be an option in the future? So maybe we're going to think about that. We've actually got designs where we included some armrests as little flares and things like that, and it's kind of interesting. The chair does so much with your posture. And one of the things it does is that when we make these posture changes, right, we're using our hip muscles, glutes, abs, all of these are kind of triggered just briefly. And that kind of works its way up, and your whole body had this little movement. So we think we're also kind of helping on all of those fronts. If we put full armrests, now we've got to kind of add cost and difficulty, perhaps not for as much win as we'd like in the beginning. But we're definitely something we're going to think about, is how we can keep going with this and introduce things like that.
Yeah, it's the risk of falling over backwards is a good concern, and you can lean back on it pretty well. But I think just like any, child, I think you stop doing this as a child, but of course you can really force yourself back. But then you will, like, the chair isn't, it's robust, and you really can't tip over. If you really tried, I think like anything, you can tip over on anything. But
yeah. It's been designed so that all of your weight, your center of mass, is on the platform, and the platform is what makes the chair stable. So even if you lean back, you see I'm kind of still on top of our platform. So it's your setup, right? It doesn't budge. Once you try that. All right. We have a question on the footrest length, expandable and side to side. So I'm gonna climb under my desk. I just climb under the desk and may not see it, but there's a button under here, under the footrest portion of the grab, and that's a release, and we can adjust the height of the footrest. So that part, that's the height. Likewise, there's a button on the base which lets you slide the footrest in and out. I don't know, now I'm getting into trouble here. I got the chair, talk to the chair to move. But there's a button to move the footrest in and out. So let's see. So that's that. And then the footrest isn't further expandable because it's kind of plenty for its purpose to kind of serve as a place to park your foot at this point.
And then the base, right, that you were on just now was casted aluminum. So it's this nice anchor point that really supports the frame, the chair, so preventing it from tipping over.
And then, actually, you want to take the next one about the materials used in the frame to support the chair's durability?
Yeah. So the chair is made from aluminum, casted aluminum for the base, and then for the footrest and column, it's made out of 600 series aluminum, so extruded aluminum, similar to bicycles use that kind of aluminum, so really strong, sturdy frame. And then the seats that Mark is sitting on, it's polymer, a strong polymer with glass fiber reinforcement, and that's supported from a steel centerpiece, which the seats rely on. So it's a very strong chair that will last a while too, for all this motion that we will be putting on it.
I think people, been iterating on this. I think 6 iterations, probably over 3 years now. And a lot of that was to work through choosing the materials, the strengths to support all the requirements. And chairs are really important products. And then we have a question about our weight limit and how that works, and is this suggested or real? So it's a new product, and we've kind of designed it to like an intense high load because we wanted to kind of start there. And we've already done some testing with industry testing where they create this really extreme condition, which we ran through, and the chair held up great. What we're doing for the launch is we're sort of limiting to 275 pounds as a suggested weight limit, because you take into account all the other things about the maximum height and this weight. We figure that's a good place to kind of stop for now until we kind of finish all the thorough testing, and we may update that later once we kind of have more formal testing results. Right, and the footrest, there's a question, is it soft? So you notice I am in socks because I'm working at home. So sorry if I offend somebody. So the footrest is kind of a firm plastic, and we've had people try it, and we've had suggestions. Could we upholster and cushion it? So actually, we're planning to have a kind of a premium upholstered version where we'll have an option where you can have some cushioning on the footrest and the backrest. The chair works great and it's very comfortable now, but why not also have that little bit extra comfort option?
Yeah. I guess we could talk a little bit about most office chairs have a 250-pound weight limit. So we're doing 275, which hope to make this chair for as many and accessible to many as possible.
Yeah, and we'll keep going too. We'll definitely keep working to extend that. All right. Oh, great. So we got a question about one of my favorite topics. Well, cut me off, our team here, if I go too long. But it's about our Waterloo study and about, what our chair does versus kind of health and so on. And I'll try to keep it short. When we started this, we kind of liked the idea and we had some confidence that it worked. But we were really asking the question, how do we really establish and prove that this is helpful? And we did a lot of looking around, and we found the group at University of Waterloo, who kind of still extensively do chair research, which is kind of a rare field. But they've tested every chair and they have every kind of approach to doing this. And when I reached out to them, I said, well, what can we show about how does a chair affect our health? And I remember the first comment was, Dr. Callaghan up there said something like, well, Mark, chairs cause harm over years and decades, and proving otherwise is not easy. And I was just almost heartbroken, like, what do you, like, we had to prove this. So then he said, but we've got a way. And basically it's this canary in the coal mine approach, where they've tested so many people over years. They know people that are more sensitive to sitting. They call them back each time they need to test a new chair. And that's what we did with them, where we brought in a total of 16 people, and they went through using our chair for 2 hours one day and sitting in a really nicely adjusted ergonomic chair another day. And another day they came in and stood and worked and measured all of that. And to cut to the chase, I think they said it was the first time they've ever seen an outcome this strong, where every single participant had no discomfort, only in our chair. So that was kind of an exciting kind of proof that we were onto something here. And it's really just movement, right? It's just that if you can move every 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, just a little more often, we kind of can get away from a lot of these problems. Let's see. Great. There's a question about a payment plan. And a number of people have asked about that. And I could just say that we are still working on it. We expect to have some kind of option that works in Indiegogo, but also kind of makes a payment plan possible. So stay tuned. I think there'll be details in the VIP group and so on to kind of find out how that goes. We'll have more on that soon. All right.
Okay, are we done, or are we?
Oh, I think there's a last question. Someone joined late. When's this expected to ship? And if we reserve, will it be shipped sooner? So I think the way it works is there's a priority. All of the early bird supporters are going to be at the top of the list. And our target date is July. So we're kind of working with our manufacturers now. Jose and I are in the middle of finishing our pre-production batch. It's the chairs that go out to all the testing and all of that, and they're working really well. So we have good confidence. So July for shipping, and yes, we'll keep you at the top of the list for your support. So I think that's it. I think we're going to run out of time. So we will wrap up our session here. Want to share that we are launching on Indiegogo on October 24th. Love it if you could tell your friends and share the news. This is kind of our chance to kind of get this very new project of love, I think, out to the public. So thank you for joining today. And
Thank you.
sign off.